In Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the Catoblepas is a large monstrosity of challenge rating 5 with an AC of 14 and 84 hit points. It has great strength and constitution stats for a low-level creature, as well as a surprisingly high wisdom score of 14, which is strange for such a bestial creature. It has a passive perception of 12 and dark vision up to 60 feet. It has advantage on all perception checks relying on smell, and has a stench trait that affects all creatures within 10 feet around it. All creatures except for it that start their turn within this AoE must make a DC 16 con save, or else they are poisoned until the start of the Catoblepas' next turn. On its turn, it has a couple of options. It can choose to do a whip attack with its tail, dealing 5d6 plus 4 bludgeoning damage, a damage potential of 9 to 34. In addition, someone who gets hit by this must make a DC 16 con save, or else take 8d8 necrotic damage, or half as much on a success. Its other option is a death ray attack, which recharges if the DM rolls a 5 or 6 on a d6 at the start of its turn. This attack has a range of 30 feet and prompts a DC 16 con save, with a target taking 8d8 necrotic damage on a failure, or half as much on a success. However, if the target fails by 5 or more, rolling an 11 total or lower, they take a flat 64 necrotic damage, which at low levels can be deadly. On the note of deadly, if the death ray damage reduces a target to 0 HP, they instantly die with no death saves. This creature is described in D&D as a large buffalo-like creature with elephant-like legs and the head of a warthog on the end of an elongated neck. They are surrounded by a reeking stench of death and disease, similar to the swamp gases that can be found in their natural habitats. As a DM, I would use this creature's death ray attack at every opportunity. At lower levels, and even in mid-levels, the chance of dealing 8 to 64 damage makes this single attack very dangerous. Add in the chance of getting max damage on a player's low constitution save makes it even more dangerous, especially for the players who typically have the lowest constitution, the ranged casters and healers. A low constitution target is likely to fail the save, and if they fail with an 11 or lower, they take the 64 max damage, which would reduce most casters at low level to 0, killing them instantly. On a turn when the ray does not recharge, I would simply have the creature strike the nearest player with its tail. Round to round, the players who are close range will have to make a constitution save against the creature's stench, and failure results in them getting poisoned, imposing disadvantage on attack rolls and future saving throws. While this creature is not intelligent, it is my opinion that its relatively decent wisdom allows it to know when something is being affected by its stench abilities. In-game, the target would likely be looking ill and swaying back and forth. When someone is affected by the stench in this way, they become the prime target for this creature's death ray or its tail. When none are affected, I would use the death ray on whatever ranged character has hurt the creature the most, as a beast would likely see that ranged player as a definite threat. This creature is still a bestial monster, so it will attack indiscriminately and change targets based on whatever seems to be hurting or hindering it most at the moment. The Catoblepas is a legendary creature from Ethiopia, first described by Gaius Plinius Secundus, aka Pliny the Elder, in his work entitled Natural History. It is described there as a mid-sized creature, sluggish, with a heavy head and face always pointed towards the ground. He believed that its gaze was similar to the basilisks of lore, and that looking it in the eyes would turn a man to stone. Further authors Pomponius Mela, Timotheus of Gaza, and Claudius Annalius all describe the creature as similar to a bull, with bloodshot eyes, scales, shaggy eyebrows, heavy head, and possibly having fire-breathing properties. Claudius disputed the death gaze first proposed by Pliny the Elder, saying instead that the creature had poisonous breath that reeked of death. Based upon the more realistic parts of their descriptions, it's likely that these men encountered or were studying wildebeests, and thought that they were related to another African legend, the Gorgon. If you've watched this series, then you already know that the Libyan myth of the Gorgon describes a horned bull-like creature with scales and poisonous breath. It is likely that these two myths are somehow connected. When comparing the creature to the myth, we find that they're almost identical. The mythical beast is a large bull-like creature with a warthog head on top of a long neck that reeks and either has a deadly gaze or poisoned breath. The D&D creature seems to combine all of these features, making the beast look like its mythological counterpart, while incorporating its poison breath into a stench AoE and its deadly gaze into a death ray attack. If you enjoyed that video, consider giving it a like and giving me a follow. And for more of my videos, you can find me on Twitch at Moglaroo, YouTube at Moglaroo Streams, and TikTok at Moglaroo Streams as well.